Now, when we get to understand this thing, we get to find out that as we grow older in life, certain things happen. One of them is not being so healthy. Remember, I didn't say sickness. Not being so healthy because we move from one realm to the other. Cancer is one of such things. We do not know how it happened. We do not know what causes it, but somehow it's beginning to permeate the human realm and causing a lot of havoc. And do we allow it? The answer is no. Because if you look at the word cancer alone, there is a can inside it. That means we can survive it. Today we're going to look at cancer, and especially as it concerns women, breast cancer, cervical cancer, a whole lot of it. And I have people who are not just cancer survivors, but they are cancer crusaders. Trust me, they'll be bearing their mind for you today. I'll let them introduce themselves. Let's start from, when I was small, we used to do tumban, baskalaba. Okay, so.
Hello, good morning. My name is Nina Marie Opene. I'm a 42-year-old mother of two. I work in the civil service, and I am a breast cancer survivor.
Okay.
I'm still in treatment anyways, but I am a survivor.
Okay.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It's always beautiful to be here with you on the conversation on the largest television network. My name is Halima Osman. I'm here to give support to Lizzie and, of course, to my very good friends here.
All right.
My name is Chestnut Milo Dorothy Nuhu Akenova. I'm a breast cancer survivor and a feminist.
Okay. She says she's a feminist, and all of us here are womanists. And one way or the other, I tell people that cancer is not just what you feel on the skin. There are a lot of cancers in our lives. It could be your emotional problem, it could be your family problem, it could be your office problem, whatever it is, it becomes cancerous. But then I always say remove the bad parts, take the good one, which is a can. Yes, we can. Let's see this feature. When we come back, we'll talk in details.
Cancer ranks top on the chart as a leading cause of death and an important barrier to increasing life expectancy in every country of the world. According to the World Health Organization in 2019, it is the second leading cause of death in 112 of 183 countries, affecting people before the age of 70 and ranking third and fourth in 23 other countries. In Nigeria, cancer is responsible for 72,000 deaths with an estimated 102,000 cases annually, with cases varying by gender. For men, the most common types of cancer are prostate, colorectal, and non-Hodgkin lymphoma. On the other hand, for women, they are breast cancer, cervical cancer, and ovarian cancer. Breast cancer affects people in Nigeria, with 12% of the disease representing new cases and 25% of all cancers in women. Cells in healthy breast tissue can become cancerous and can spread to other parts of the body. Symptoms include a large lump, swelling, pain in the breast, bloody discharge of the nipple, the skin peeling on your breast, an inverted nipple, and so on. There are also different types of breast cancer, such as invasive ductal carcinoma and angiosarcoma. Although they generally have less of it, men have breast tissue just like women do and can get breast cancer too. However, it is a rare occurrence. Cervical cancer is a type of cancer that starts in the cervix. The cervix connects the uterus to the vagina. Many women with cervical cancer do not realize they have the disease early on because it usually does not cause any visible symptoms until the late stages. Typical cervical cancer symptoms are unusual bleeding, such as in between periods, after sex, or after menopause, vaginal discharge that looks or smells different than usual, pain in the pelvis, needing to urinate more often, pain during urination, and so on. Most cervical cancer cases are caused by the human papilloma virus, also known as HPV. Nevertheless, cervical cancer is treatable if caught early. The four main treatments are surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and targeted therapy. Whether from genetics, lifestyle choices, environment, or a combination of all, cancer can affect anyone regardless of their background. There is no known cure for the disease as of today. However, one can reduce one's risk to it by leading a healthy lifestyle. Eat healthy, exercise frequently, and get regular medical checkups. Early detection is always key in fighting cancer. Have you done your self-breast examination today?
All right, that question for me is very paramount. It is pertinent. It is important we examine ourselves. And I may not be physically, a carrier, but one way or the other, we have all been affected. If it's not your family member, it could be your friend, it could be your colleague. One way or the other, you may have lost life. You may have someone who is living with it. I have two of my friends here who are survivors. Incidentally, their voices are very loud. But I've had stories. A lot of times it doesn't really sink in. Let me start with you. How was it like for you? How did you notice? How was it revealed, so to speak?
Well, I just got home one evening and it was during hammer time for December. And usually the skin gets dry and itchy during that December period. So when I got home and I felt itchy on my breast, I just assumed, okay, this brow must have been too tight and the weather is too dry. So I gave it a good scratch. And then there was a little burst on the nipple and I felt some coldness. And then when I checked my t-shirt, I had lines of dark brown, stains. And I have been a sexuality educator for years, so I knew the implication of a discharge that is brownish in color from the nipple. So my world just came to a halt that second, that moment. That's how the journey began for me. Then I had to see a doctor, I had to contact an older feminist friend, who is also an advocate in the field of breast cancer. And she's the one who said, look, Dorothy, you've got to pursue this aggressively. I think you should.
I would like to know the aggressiveness and what it all involved. But let's see. I noticed you were shaking your head.
Sorry, I'm being dramatic, but I can understand it. So mine was during lockdown last year, August. Okay, I think 2 weeks before that, my right shoulder had been, this is my right one, my right shoulder had been hurting. And I told my husband, and he said, you probably slept wrongly. And I'm like, okay, but it shouldn't
Right
take.
shoulder hurting.
Yeah, that was
This is the
for
first
me.
time I ever noticed.
That's what I said. So
I heard.
everybody has their own.
Presentation.
Then one day I took off my bra, and my nipple had gone in, like it had collapsed. So I was like, okay, this is not normal. Then I've read other people's stories, and just seeing there and then, you just know that there's something wrong. I didn't have a discharge, but I just knew that this is not normal. There's something wrong. Yes, it inverted. Next thing, I do an exam, and it wasn't really fun. But I was like, there's something that is really not right, because you do have those hard this thing. I went for a mammogram. Nobody sent me. I went for a mammogram. They now called me, and you just keep trying to say, okay, this is not it. So the particular breast was dense. They couldn't see through it. The other one was clear. Couldn't see, but there was something inside. So I had to go for a biopsy. I still kept saying, and the doctors were like, oh, no, it's nothing. That's the thing. Everybody was like, even when they took it out, oh, it's nothing, it's nothing. Until I got my results in August.
I think they tried to give us a soft landing, don't they?
And your brain just tells you, okay, it is something else. It
Yeah.
is something else. It is benign. Until August, I heard it. I was trying to be strong. Next thing I thought about the doctor now goes, it's cancer. Yeah. Okay. It was a horrible 2 weeks of my life, because I couldn't cry myself to sleep. I had to stay awake until I am physically tired, so that I just sleep at once. Because you try and sleep, in between falling asleep, you now think of, you're going to die. You think of all the people you remember and who died, and we all associated cancer with death. I cried. Then I started talking to different people. That was what gave me peace. I sent it to my uncle in America, who's a doctor, a friend who's a doctor, and they said one thing that calmed me down. As you grow older, these things happen. And it was stage 1, early stage. You can beat it, you can this one. But some of like, you're so young. I started crying again because I was like, so what am I going to do? I have 2 young kids. One just turned 7, the other one is going to be 4 end of the year. So, those are the thoughts that go through your mind. I lost my mom when I was 15, so I didn't want this to happen again. So, yes, it took a rough getting used to. But after a while, you create your own stories. I spoke to someone, and they said sometimes what aggravates it or increases it is your state of mind. And I kept myself busy researching. I found second opinions. I didn't go to just one doctor. When I wasn't comfortable with the course of treatment, I spoke to another doctor. I found another doctor. So, speaking and reading and talking about it kind of gave me peace. So I did my lumpectomy because the first doctor said I should take everything off. You're dealing with losing body parts. I have estrogen-related lobular breast cancer. I've had ovarian cyst. I've had fibroid. I had my first child with fibroid. So these are precursors for me to having breast cancer. And I think I'm lucky because it could have shown up in my ovaries, which I wouldn't have known until it would really become bad. So I think I'm lucky it even came out in the breast. So I did my lumpectomy. I just finished my chemo on the 8th of March. And I'm due for radiotherapy. I've started hormone treatment. And there are days you cry, there are days you feel sad, there are days you remember, but you look up and you realize that everybody's battling one thing or the other. If this is my own, I just move forward with it. And I've met women that have gone through worse things. Some lost their husbands while they were receiving treatment, and they've come out stronger. And now that we are aware, it's not as frightening as we thought it would be, because the word cancer tends to connote you're gone, but there are lots of people living with it, and
I think
we
the
look good.
reason is because people never were outspoken as we
Yes,
are now. Like
yes.
10 years ago, when I
Nobody.
discovered mine, people weren't talking.
Yeah.
People were all in
You've
hiding.
been on with it for 10 years.
Yes, it's over 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I know that 10 years, now it's still bad. People get it. They don't want to share it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to discuss it under the,
Yeah.
not
As if
even
it's a
table.
stigma.
Yes. As if it's your fault.
It's not.
I mean, it's nothing.
I think it's just that attitude of this is the end of the road for this one is going to die.
Yeah.
I've seen family and even partners react that way when their wives are diagnosed.
Yeah.
They just give up, and then that support that the woman needs is withdrawn because they feel like they're pouring water into a basket.
Yeah.
And they don't end up giving support to the girls or to the women. And sometimes you talk and it makes sense, but sometimes you talk and talk and talk, and then they never come out of it.
Yeah.
So it's just the attitude, generally speaking, that
True.
people give up on other people.
Yeah.
And that's why our stories and voices are very important. We need to let people know that imagine if somebody gave up on me 10 years ago. All the great things I've done since 10 years ago would not have been done.
That's true.
That's terrible. Even if someone has just one day to impact the world, the person deserves an opportunity. And the people who are passing the sentence on us, they don't know what they are carrying. Many people have died that didn't even have cancer from a diagnosis till now.
Yeah.
So all of us are on borrowed time. Let it sink, and that will help us not to be judgmental and to condemn other people.
Now, I would like to know, you talked about support and all of that. How was the support for you? I mean, work-related, family-related. How was it? What was it that happened for you that kept you going up until now?
Well, I'm very fortunate because I work in the field of sexual and reproductive health. And as a feminist, I have alliances across the globe. So I have friends in India. That's where I obtained my treatment and went for follow-up until, recently when people can travel again and then begin to do everything here. In the board, it was also very supportive. I work with a non-governmental organization. That year I was diagnosed. We had just introduced a model in our training for women and girls on cancer. reproductive cancer. So just after doing the module, then I come down with cancer.
Was
So
it because you did the model?
no. But the module prepared me.
yeah.
Because if I have done module for people, then I should be in a good position to show by example what I have written. And that was very encouraging, because the alternative that I was getting pressure around from the church, especially because I'm also an evangelist, is when there is convention, you must go there. When there's Holy Ghost night, you must go there. Just keep going and you will get your miracle one day, you know. And then I sat and thought to myself, after educating hundreds of women, then they come and greet me all skeleton smelly. Then they're going to ask me a question. How come I put that information out for other people to use and could not use it for yourself? That just switched the thing roundabout for me and put me in a fighting mode, and that's the mode I've been on. Family, I've been very, very a handful kind of person. I've given them tough time. I divorced my husband. I married a younger man. The family disowned me, you know. So I expected that the younger man was going to stick with this situation, but no, he just couldn't cope with it. I understand very well, you know. So I had to pick the pieces. Eventually got reconciled with my born-again pastor husband, you know. So
That's nice.
it's been good support network, and that's very crucial, because if everybody who comes around you is speaking life into your body, giving you courage to move on, if you see their smiles, you know, it helps you to move on day after day. You know, Marie, you talked about, you know, the fact that these panics and anxieties, they set in. I tell you, they still do. Every time you go for your checkup,
You're like, oh Lord.
you are waiting for the results, you know, and sometimes they are misdiagnosing and etc., putting you in panic mode. I have lost like 10 kg in 2 weeks before because I got a result that I wasn't prepared for. So it's a long journey, and what you need is that support system
Every time.
that can keep encouraging you. Say, you know, you fought it when it was bad. You can still fight it now.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
You know, when she was talking, I just remembered. So I did this cervical cancer test.
I couldn't see.
Yesterday, I was talking to Nina about it. So when I did that cervical cancer test, you understand, that was in 2015 we started. After 6 months, you go for the second and the third. They were doing, I think, they were doing a research. So I went. They didn't tell me the result, the first result, until after the second one. So that was when they told me that you have trace of cancer. Oh my God. Okay, so I just felt that, okay, the end has come.
It has a way of
Like,
doing
it's
that
time to write your will and just bid the world goodbye, you know. But I think, I don't know, maybe because I'm a fighter myself. So at a point, I started asking myself and started searching and reading and asking myself, so if truly this thing turns out to be what it is suspected to be, and probably I have just few months to live, what happens? So I told myself, well, if that's what's going to happen, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to live the best of my life. I am into charity, which you know I love working with people, helping people. So I told myself, let me just die doing these things that I love to do. So I picked up, I got busy doing those things. And I think somehow that was what helped me. And then I stopped taking certain kinds of food. I stopped eating anything with sugar, stopped taking minerals, anything that has to do with sugar, I cut it down. And I ensure that my food, no matter what I'm eating, has a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits. So I just, it was like you said, a complete change, change of lifestyle. And I was surprised when I went for the final test. They said it's cleared. I said okay.
They do not diagnose you.
And I think that's another problem.
Yes.
That's another, because you've had cases of, okay, so for me, my own support, I have lots of friends, and honestly, my family and friends have been fantastic. I have a boss, his name is Charles. My husband's name too is Charles, and he did something great. He had put out his sister's own, so I called him up and said, this is my own problem. So he called my husband too, and explained to him that this is going to be a tough journey, even for you. Men have been known to accuse their wives, because even sleeping with your husband, you don't have that appetite or energy. So he said some men have accused their wives, they've left their wives, they blah blah blah. So somehow, don't know, my husband Kukuma stuck with me because he doesn't have any choice. It's true.
You are charming.
Thank you. He does. And somehow I feel I have to be cheerful for people around me, because if you're down and whatever, they're going to feel down. And my husband says, I don't know what to do. I really don't know how you're feeling. I can't explain. And I have lovely friends. I had a friend when I was looking for money, they donated, and one of them said, your own job is to get well. Our own job is to find how to get you what you need. My cousins in various countries, it's just been awesome. And with them, it's been funny. Even in my office, the other day, the office was hot. My my office is on 10th floor, so those on 10th floor know, not everybody. And I took off my wig, and everybody was, so this is what you look like. Nobody made it weird. I go to my friends' homes. I don't go with my wig. My hair is looking all funny, and there's acceptance. You're like, oh, you look nice. And it's one of those things you will
I
get
want
over.
to say, I think Nina is very strong. Sincerely speaking, because when I first heard her story, she actually broke the news to me and said,
because you got tired of explaining to
"Excuse
people,
me."
where are you, where have you, why are you wearing this? So you're like, okay, you know what, this is it. And because she's a woman too, I'm using my own story to help other women, because I'm early stage breast cancer. I have estrogen related lobular breast cancer. I didn't know it was 6 months ago, but I understand it now. And I always tell women, it's not just checking whatever, check your hormonal level. I believe if I checked my hormones, because it's my hormones, I would have figured out that there was something wrong. But nobody tells us. I had a condition. I kept going to the hospital. They kept saying it was this, it was that. Nobody thought to check. This was 3 years ago after I had my child, to check my hormonal level. That's what I think, because it's my hormones that. Now so I'm now taking estrogen blockers. I'm blocking my hormones, because for me, it's the hormones that are causing this thing. So it's just.
A lot of people it could be, but I would like to know what has changed for you, when it comes to your lifestyle. What has changed? Maybe she mentioned something about food. It was you that said it.
Yeah.
What has changed for you?
Total lifestyle changes. People have become a priority to me. I mean, I worked in a non-governmental setting, and it's about people, but it was very clinical kind of work I was doing. But now I'm more interested in the people. I want to know how you are. I want to know how you feel, It's more, I believe now in connections.
Yes.
I want to connect with whoever crosses my path. And I want to leave something when we meet, so that when you go, you always think, I learned something new from this woman. So it may be an obsession. So I'm into developing projects and programs, and just doing things all over the place that can make impact. And then I've learned to spend time with my family. It was at my diagnosis I was saying, son sits in this part of the house. I didn't even know where son used to sit from. Because I was out there working, I was out traveling and all of that. And of course, I've changed my diet. So the sugars were the first to go. And now
Sugars
I'm
are
working
usually a
on letting
problem.
go- I'm letting go of the animal protein and vegetables and fruits, especially when they are not cooked. Very important. I make sure that I move my bowel regularly so that toxins are not accumulated in my body. I drink lots of water. And that's something that most people don't do. And if we don't drink water, we can't flush things out. And then I'm an exercise freak. I've always exercised.
You
and
look
this
it.
has made it, and I still exercise.
You look it. Do you exercise?
I had to. I started. So my own story. I'm just 6 months into this journey. So
Long enough.
so yes, I get it. But for me, I've learned to do ugu juice. I have drank every type of juice. I have bowel movement. I have learned to do exercise. Now, unfortunately for me, it was not my thing. I learned it. So today, I watch my steps. You need to. I try to challenge, but as a human being, there are times you fall by the wayside. When you fall by the wayside, your body now tells you, hey, you know this thing. Like last week, I was doing coffee. I like coffee. I like my coffee thick. And I remembered that this thing. So
The coffee is a no-no.
well,
it will depress your system
Yes.
because it mimics fatigue and stress in the body.
Yeah,
and you
so-
want your body to
to-
optimally
yeah.
function so
Then-
that you can resist infection.
Infection.
So not only reoccurrence,
Yeah.
but also other infections around.
So then I went to see my doctor because after chemo, my mind, I celebrated a party. I just, it took a struggle. It's like when you're at the last end of the race, when you now find out they have reached the race, you're like, I'm taking a holiday. Then my doctor now said, I haven't seen you. I've not scheduled you for whatever, and whatever, you're getting fat again. I went up to 90, so I went back again. I'm now 86. The thing is, I don't look my weight. That's the funny thing. So it crept up on me. And for me, estrogens, the fatter you are, okay, my doctor said peripheral fat increases estrogen. So for me, I have to keep it on the low. I always have to be cautious. I have to whatever. I don't have to feed it. So sugars feed, but there's also an argument because you are supposed to take fruits. Fruits have fructose. It has sugar. So it's a balance, delicate balance.
Maybe we're talking about refined sugar.
Yeah, refined
Otherwise,
sugars.
even vegetables
Yeah,
are
because
good.
everybody gives, don't take sugar, don't. So you have to do your research. And I'm like, so someone was like, what don't you eat and what do you eat? I say, I eat everything. I just make sure I balance it out. I do more vegetables. I have to. More vegetables, more fruits. But I'm not going to cut out sugar from my life. I'm going to deprive myself something. So it's then.
So you still do ice cream?
No. Well, but you're allowed to have a break once in a while. You're not a monk or you're not whatever. You're not. You have to cut yourself some slack, but it's just being disciplined about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just new in the journey, but what has changed for me is I'm doing more. My case was the reverse. Especially with young kids, we'll do this tomorrow. I kept postponing, but now I'm taking my children swimming. I'm doing this. I'm pushing myself out there. I'm coming home tired, and I'm excited about it. I'm no longer as lazy as I used to be. And I'm also reaching out to people. I'm also wanting to have engagements and talks and seeing everybody as somebody to reach out to, because people made this journey easy for me. So I might as well just pay it forward. And I try not to let normal things disturb me. This one did not greet me. This one did not smile at me.
Those are so cheap.
Mindset is important.
Mindset is, this doctor, because it's normal. This doctor did this to me. I move on to finding a solution instead of dwelling in. It's hard
I think
sometimes.
survivors are solution finders, actually.
You have to.
Those who get weighed down are the
You have
ones who
to.
sit and put and,
Yeah, you
overly-
can't. You
I've
can't.
seen people who refuse to go back for treatment because doctor talked to her anyhow.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that?
it's
Because
true.
doctors talk to you anyhow because
And your
they
lives
have
are
this
stake.
experience where people come and they just vanish into thin air.
Yeah.
They go to seek for prayers on some prayers work, but prayers and faith without
Good
action,
works.
timely and appropriate action is zero. We have to back it up with appropriate and timely action. That's the concern of the doctor. Don't just thin out and disappear on them. So they
Do not get angry.
preempt that and they talk to you in a way that sometimes may appear condescending, but they want you to come back. And yet some women just take it as an offense and they don't go back.
I think this prayer thing for us, I believe in God, man, has whatever, but I think it's more because the cost of cancer treatment is
It's high.
expensive and it is long. We don't have enough equipment. It's okay.
Somehow I think that if I knew this at the beginning, I'd have been defeated in my mind.
Yeah, I know.
If anybody had told me the total cost of what I need to stay alive till I am here now, I would have given up because there was no way I could have fathomed in my life that I would have that kind of money come in my way. No way. So sometimes I struggle with what to do. Do we let people know or do we just let them? It's like when
Let
you are
them find
building,
it out.
the
Find out.
architect or engineer just plays you before you know it, your millions are gone.
Yeah.
So a day at a time.
it's,
But the important thing is that the resources will always be
Be there.
available
That's
because
my story.
life is like that.
Yes, somehow God does not give us a burden that He will not give us enough grace to carry it on. I know one CC Scout once said that the human spirit is stronger than anything that can happen to it. Yes, if we are strong on the inside, we can defeat whatever it is. Sometimes we think we don't have money. With a blink of an eye, the money comes. Let's take this break. When we come back, we'll still have our discussion on cancer.
Back to 2014. I remember I felt a lump on my right breast, but I ignored it because it was silent. It didn't do anything. So, and I remember walking in, never imagined that that would be the beginning of a life change for me. And we proceeded to have the mammogram examination. And she said, "Oh, I feel a lump." And I said, "Yeah, it's been there for a while." And she said, let's just look at it and see what the mammogram says. They did a biopsy, and interestingly, the first report said that it was negative. But I had a very experienced doctor, which matters, and he said, "I am personally going to do this biopsy." So I had to go into the theater again. They did a biopsy, and you know what, when the report came back, it was cancerous. And when I say that, I couldn't say this 5 years ago because I'm celebrating 5 years of being in remission, of being cancer free. Why did I survive? I survived because in everything that I did from the first time that I was diagnosed, yes, in Nigeria, it was Nigeria that diagnosed me. It was Nigeria that first treated me. So Nigeria has the capacity to save lives.
Okay, so cancer, you just saw a bit of another survivor, Choma. She actually was in the 4th stage. That was big.
That bad.
It was big. But she was supposed to be here with us. Unfortunately, she's not here. One thing I have learned from her is the strong will, to live. The strong will, just pretty much like you, she has actually demystified it. You don't get to feel this is a death sentence. Of course it's not. And I took out something again from her, which was that it's very important for you to stay close home. Nigeria, she talked about the smoothies, just like you mentioned, that a lot of things we eat in Nigeria are still pretty organic.
Yeah.
So if we can depend on our food, which brings me to talking about what constitutes the smoothie for you. I don't know, you talked about blending the vegetables raw.
Yeah, I do 2 things. I do juices and I do smoothies.
Okay.
Juices because the machine presses out the juice and does not spin it. So there are certain very delicate nutrients that could be destroyed while you blend and power it. But when you extract it by that pressing, those nutrients are preserved. So I do red juices, and red juices are carrots with beetroot.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I add ginger and I add garlic. And then my green juices.
Do you add honey to it?
No, I don't eat. There is diabetes in my family, so I'm also trying not to have to go on that diabetic treatment. So I'm battling.
I'm shaking my head because beetroot is bitter.
No,
It's an acquired taste.
It's nice.
After a while, if you acquire, it's an acquired taste.
Well, so for me, green juice is cucumber, the back of watermelon.
Back of watermelon?
Wow. You scrub it with iron sponge and then compress it. Yeah. And then ugu, kale,
parsley,
dandelion. Yeah, dandelion.
Celery.
I put celery sometimes because the flavor.
It is pungent.
You should bring it close to your nose. I mean,
and that's the thing. I find it. So what I do is I have a Nutri blender. So it more or less. I don't take any of my smoothies straight. I have to see all the fibers inside. So I have it. It pulverizes everything plus the stalk, and so I don't separate. I just put anything that comes: ugu, carrots, this one, that one, pineapple. I mix everything, and I drink it. So there are days I have beetroot. There are days I have carrots. Like I said, I just mix and match, and
But I have a minimum of 5 a day of 250 cl.
see, no, I
With
just
5 to 7 a day.
oh no, I just wing it.
Of each of the mix.
Yes.
Okay, you blend and put in the fridge, or you.
2 plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
good
when
one.
I come to Abuja, then it's in the fridge because, I have to go to a particular eatery where I place order for them.
For them,
so
yeah,
at
so-
10 o'clock, I go and I pick all of them and I put them in the fridge and they last me to the next day in the morning.
Oh, that's okay. Now, I still want to, relate a little bit more on the, treatment stuff. How regularly, we already talked about the cost. I don't want to mention what it costs, but how regularly do you go for your treatment?
Treatment is the first thing you do. Then the next thing is management. And
What's the difference now? Treatment and management,
Okay,
what's the
treatment
difference?
starts.
Okay.
Let's say starts after diagnosis. Then you may be on some long-term treatment like the hormonal,
Yeah.
which is supposed to cut off hormone supply.
Yep.
I was on tamoxifen, and then I did Zoladex
Yes,
injections,
the injections.
which were monthly, and I did those for 5 years.
5 years.
Yes, I did those for 5 years. Because they will tell you first 2 years, and then after 2 years, one more year, and then after 1 more year, like that. And so from that, I had 5 years, and I calculated the cost, and I said, hello, I don't need babies anymore. So
Just tell me.
let's get them out. Those eggs,
take the ovaries.
so I took the ovaries out. And then they say you can't keep the uterus when the ovaries are out because apart from the fact that it is risky, uterus never works without the ovaries. So take the two out and then you have peace of mind. Then you don't have to worry that, you need to monitor the cervical cancer or you need to no. So I took everything out. So those are management because we don't want a reoccurrence and we don't even want a secondary occurrence because we go around knowing that because we've had cancer before, we can always
It's
have
coming
another
back.
cancer again. So that is a constant thing in our lives. And so management entails ensuring that you are cured, there is no reoccurrence, and there is no secondary occurrence. And after diagnosis is every 3 months, that you get checked because that is the most likely period that it can reoccur. And then the next year you can do twice a year. That's what, I was placed on. And then the third year is a check every year unless you have a complaint. Even if you can't breathe. Sometimes we have catarrh, the nose no go breathe air. Then I go, oh, maybe it is going in my nose. Maybe it is my brain. And then I'm subjecting myself to all
That's
that.
regular catarrh, and then you think it's another form of
it has
cancer.
Yes, a friend of mine told me, say, don't think that because you got cancer, you won't get cough and catarrh again, no. Because this one where they complain all the time like this.
Yeah, I get it.
So he asked me, did you get catarrh and cough before you were diagnosed? And I said no. And so why is it now that you're, but that is the life, every day you are in apprehension. And that's why the support network, positive support network is important. I never sit down at home and expect people to come and greet me because that's what my people are very good at. They will so pamper you, bring you food, everybody will sit around with their mouth and oh, sorry, oh, if you just move, sorry, if you just stand, sorry. I don't want that. So they come to my house and they call me on phone. We came to your house to greet you. Oh, sorry, I'm at work.
Thank you. All right, you talked about, early menopause coming in with it.
Yeah, okay, so for me, like I said, I'm still in treatment, so I have 6 months to complete my treatment. I told you I did the lumpectomy. That's, instead of removing the whole breast, I removed the portion. Then I did my chemo. I'm now going to do radiotherapy. But
Did the chemo affect your hair?
yes, I don't have hair.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So,
It's
You're
cool.
beautiful.
It's
I see your
cool.
glasses anymore.
so yes, it did. It took out my hair. So it's going to take depending, another 3-4 months to come out. But I'm also on hormone therapy, so it's to block. So I'm on tamoxifen. Unfortunately, my doctor has told me I'm going to be on it for 5 years. But 2 years down the line, when I'm premenopausal, I will take the Zolofex. But mine is going to be 3 times a year. No, 4 times a year, every 3 months.
Instead of 2.
No, I was on Zoladex every month.
No, mine
For
is
5
mine is so I everybody. That's why I say there's no one treatment for cancer. Each person is personalized. There's something my doctor did called staging of the cancer. They need to know what stage. Then there's a protocol they followed. So that's basically it. So for me, I'm not ready to lose my ovaries and take it out, because I read somewhere that it has a way of affecting your bones and your heart. I'm 42. Maybe down the line, if it's still, but I get where she's coming from, because for the rest of your life, you're always going to be thinking, are you? Because you're not term cancer free until you don't have it for 7 to 10 years for this own cancer, not at the second one, for this particular. So I'm going to do the whole 3 months when I finish my radiotherapy, then 6 months, then 2 years, then one year before. So when I do that, that's when I'm in remission. So when I'm in remission for 7 to 10 years, I am cancer free. So it's always going to be a journey. It's always going to be okay, we are going back to look at it though. We pray to God, because nobody knows what causes it. Even
The thing is, it's a journey, but I like the people who are driving the bus, the vehicle, whatever it is. The two of you, if everyone, take it the way you're taking it, we'll all be having party every now and
have you
then.
noticed they've both become doctors already?
Oh, yes.
mini doctors.
Yeah, we do have navigation all the time,
Yeah.
because you're telling people how to react and respond to the diagnosis they've received. You are giving them life competency skills, especially resilience skills for them to, and then you are directing them on the right places to go to obtain treatment. Even if they want alternative, we encourage them to take.
This is what
this is what I did, and that's why I am still here. So don't be afraid, take it, because there's a lot of rumor and myths out there. Like if you take injection, you will die. If you take chemo, it will kill you.
If they do operation,
all of those
you will
things.
die.
People
Nigerians.
die because they diagnose late.
Yes.
We generally believe if you go to the hospital,
You
they are
will
going
die.
to give you the sickness you don't have, and then you will die.
Okay, I'm gonna wear my wig.
Yes.
All right, so while you're doing that, let's see. We have
Yes,
some
because that's
messages.
another thing.
Coming.
Cold.
Yes.
Makes my head very cold.
Okay, I'm Rollins. I'm really enjoying your talk. This is an eye-opener. God bless you people. Thank you very much, Rollins. For us, all of us, it's an eye-opener, and we intend to keep our eyes open. I am Favor. Can a man have cancer? Of course, men have cancer.
Yes.
Plenty.
Even breast cancer, men have breast
Some
cancer.
men are
brother
beginning
is
to have.
scheduled to travel out too.
sorry.
He's also cancerous.
Oh,
My elder brother.
Uh-oh.
We'll be fine.
All right, let's see. I am Elder Abuchi Ikegwonu from Mkpa Bend, the local government area of Abia State. These are quite regular with us. Please, 1, what are the preventive therapy to breast cancer? 2, the women in the village, can roots and help be used in the treatment? I don't know about that. Did you try roots? What you are doing is actually roots and herbs. When you talk about your smoothie,
it's
yes.
an integrated approach to treatment, where you are eating all the natural foods, to complement the medicals, that you're obtaining from the hospital.
I think we have this misconception of these roots.
Prevent even the
Especially in Nigeria, we just automatically believe that these roots are bad or they are something else. We have this mentality of this babalawo thing. So when you begin to talk about roots, and you begin to think of those things. But I think, whether we like it or not, all the veggies we're eating, whatsoever, all these natural things we're eating, they are part of the roots.
They are
So
roots and
we need to
herbs.
have an understanding of what these things really are, so that we don't fall into this deceptive mood that no, it has to be, you have to take the drugs and not take this. They are all part of the
I still want to
However,
believe that.
Some
Go ahead.
natural things block
yeah.
the action, the properties that are active in chemo. So it is advisable that
To
when
talk to your
people are
doctor.
in chemo, they shouldn't just take anything in
Tell your
random,
doctor.
because they could be blocking the
treatment.
yes,
What
treatment.
it's meant to do for you.
Yes.
And as regards to, is there anything to prevent cancer? The thing is, you don't even know what causes cancer. So cancer is basically, our bodies produce cells, but unfortunately, when it doesn't divide well, after a while, it could. Please, nobody should quote me. It could become cancerous. No, because people have a way of taking these things, and we don't know the processes in our body. Some is hereditary, some is somebody must have had it in your family. Like my aunt had it, but she's still alive. She's almost 100, and she's in the UK. But when I told my uncle, he said, "But it's not at this age, so you're not even sure what causes it. It could be one thing for one person, another thing. All I know is that the cells that are supposed to divide evenly, sometimes they don't."
All right.
So
So
that's it.
I generally healthy living. From what the two have actually told us, it's important we do healthy living. Do your exercises. Go back to the roots and help by way of eating. Leave packaged food. Leave tin food. That way we can ensure that we are at least doing our own parts in staying healthy. We'll take a little break now. Pay some bills. When we come back, the show continues. Don't go away. Conversations. A lot of people are writing in. I'll quickly take a handful at once, then we quickly react to it before we go. Let's see. My name is Mike, and I'm writing from Benue State. I want to know more about vaginal discharge with smelling odor. Could it be a sign of cancer? We'll take the next one. It says, I have a lump in my breast. My chest has been paining me, and I do not have money to go to the hospital. Okay, I don't know who this person is, and didn't write his name. Okay, let's see. The next one says, good morning. My name is Bright. Please, I need more help on this topic. And let's quickly react to the lump one first before we continue. Somebody who says he has a lump in the breast and doesn't have money to go. Are there NGOs? Are there places, help centers? What can we do to help?
Yeah, there are foundations that support people who can't afford treatment, even diagnosis. But they can only step in when somebody has gone to a healthcare facility and they've been diagnosed. Because they are cancer foundation. They are not going to start throwing the money where it hasn't been established. So it may not be cancer. And if they do that, they'll be depriving the cancer patients of the opportunities.
Yeah.
So this person needs to go to the healthcare center.
Or for me, if you could go to one of those labs and ask them to just do a normal scan. You don't have to go to a hospital first, because I think the hospital will still refer you to go to a lab and do a scan. So when you get a scan, then your results, the lab attendant can tell you what your results are. It might not be, it might just be fear. And that's another thing. There's always fear. So it might not be anything. So you don't have to go to a hospital first. You could just go to a laboratory, have them do a scan for you. It's not that
diagnostic centers.
Diagnostic
some are good,
centers.
some are not good. Some will give you a result that will
will
make
cost
die.
you. So
and
it's a
eventually they will
50-50
clear you
thing.
and tell you nothing was
I
wrong.
know.
So if you're using a diagnostic center, please go to a credible
A
one.
credible one.
Don't go
But
to one
it
corner
does
shop,
reduce the cost of going to a hospital and whatever. So it's just.
All right, somebody says here that he's writing it from Ukporo in Ohafia local government area, and he's advocating that we eat more of soursop, which is popularly known as chop chop. It works like magic. I don't know. That's still like going back to the roots. Well, maybe I'll just take 1 or 2 seconds of your final words, advice to a lot of women who are watching at the moment.
Yeah, mine will be to encourage women not to be in toxic relationships. Because if we're in toxic relationships, we are depressed most of the time and angry and bitter, and that in turn affects our immunity. And so we are not able to fight off the radicals that are made in our body, because everybody walks around with cancer cells at one point in time or the other. But they are able to deal with all of that if they are optimally healthy, if their immune system is great.
Okay, so we need to always be happy.
Bad relationship,
Quit it.
do something about it.
All right?
Yeah, and I agree with her. And just be generally happy. And it doesn't cost much to do a checkup.
Okay.
Every time we get so busy, we get so overwhelmed, we get to take time out to
Love
do
yourself.
self-love.
Okay.
Believe me, after my chemo, I traveled for a week, went to go see my friends, something I hadn't done because I felt guilty of, oh, my children, oh, my, but believe me, they were fine, just 2-3 days.
All right.
And that's it.
And for me, I would just say, please speak out.
Yes.
You know, when you talk to people like this, when you hear other people's story, it encourages you, it gives you the strength and the stamina to stand. Whether it's cancer or it's not cancer,
Whatever it is,
please
you
talk to
must
somebody,
you must
speak
find strength in speaking to one another. If throughout the problem shared is already half solved. I'll see you again next week. My name is Elizabeth, and we've been talking on cancer. There's no end to it. What I advise you to do is love yourself. If you love yourself, you get to feel better on the inside. Bye for now.